interrupt our regularly scheduled programming to make an unexpected plumbing repair. We apologize for any inconvenience and will return shortly.
Buckle up for safety as I give you a day in the life of facilities maintenance.
Well, we've been here before, haven't we?
Well, that's a mess. So a couple of weeks ago, I asked our custodian to pay attention to these drains. He came and talked to me about it, but he didn't clean this one. That's why there's no water going down the drain. There's even air traps down in here. You know, I asked him to clean them because they're in here every night, sweeping the floors, mopping. And at the end of the day, I should have just done it myself. I'm still fighting with this. I am going to have to go get a drywall saw and cut into the wall and see if I can stop it. So it broke off in the same place as the one behind the toilet did just a little while ago. That was not fun. But it's amazing how in a situation like that, within seconds, we end up with all hands on deck. And from parents who are here watching their kids play basketball to teachers or admin staff that are still in the building, everybody jumps in and helps out. And that's fantastic. So I can catch you up now because I couldn't take my camera out to film while we're scrambling about. But what I have left to do here now, for today anyway, is I'm going to cut this off right there, and I am going to cap it with that shark bite right there, and then I can clean up and go home. If I just let the blade do the work and I don't force it, it doesn't put any excess pressure on the rest of the pipe. Off now. I'm just making a little mark on here. It's about 3/4 of an inch up the pipe because that's how far I want to make sure I slip this on. And that way I can feel comfortable turning the water back on. I think I'm going to get this out of my way first. Yeah, it just snapped right off. Right there. That feels good. Okay. That's on. So I should be able to safely turn the water back on. The sprinkler room is where all our mechanical shutoffs reside. And yeah, because I don't know which floor is for which, I just had to shut off a bunch of them. That's a cold side, but I just shut them all off anyway. Turn you back on. And that one up there, water was also going through. There. Got to do a fairly straightforward job. And it turns out being something like this. Well, I do not see or hear any water running. So that is outstanding. Well, it's the next day, and the crisis is averted. And I've done this type of repair before, so it's going to be fairly straightforward. The nice thing about this one here is that I don't have to do any tile work. I simply have to turn this pipe out and put a new shutoff on here, and then just do a small drywall patch. So that's easy. The things that I am working out though is in order to do this, put this elbow and turnout on here to put the new shutoff on, I'm gonna have to open this line up again. And when I do, even with the water shut off, there's gonna be dozens of gallons of water that will potentially flow out of here, simply because it's not like a residence where you only have a minimal amount of supply piping and there's only a little bit of water in it. This is a school, and the supply piping, while it reduces down to 1/2 inch here, to carry that back and forth through the school it's going through big pipes. And so there's thousands of gallons of water just stored up in the piping in the school itself. I just don't want it going in the wall if I can avoid that. These are the things that I'm thinking about as I make this repair. Once I've made this repair, then I'll carry on with the original repair that I started doing, which is to re-secure this mounting plate at the other end over there so that I can remount the floating countertop. So that's my elbow connection. It'll go in the wall this way, actually. Now what I have to do to transition to this CPVC, and while I'm generally not a fan of using shark bite fittings in the wall, it really is the only safe way that I am able to connect my new PEX piping to that brittle CPVC. I need to do something that's the least disruptive as possible. I will slip a universal coupler to the end of that piping and then transition to this. So that is what will come out of the wall. Well, it's getting close to the end of the school day. The kids are going to go home pretty soon, and so I am getting ready to shut off the hot water side. However, remember yesterday when I shut the water off, but yet there was still so much water coming out of the hot water side? I want to try and relieve a little bit of that pressure prior to actually connecting my new elbow on there. And this may be goofy, I don't know, but I'll show you what I did. Using a series of supply lines, I want to keep the water contained to the drain and not all over the floor. And so I've hooked this up to a hot side tap. So when I shut off the water, then I'm going to open this up and just let the system drain under its own static pressure. If you're wondering why I did this, it's because for the very reason that this other one broke off. These things are so fragile that it just takes a light little, just a little tick to break them. And I'm concerned about the weight of this supply line pulling at an angle. I could very well break that off. So I've just hung it here with a couple of screws just to relieve the pressure off of that while I do this. So not being in holy crap, you got a whole bunch of water coming out of the wall mode, I'm going to shut the water off at the hot water tank itself as opposed to shutting the main off. So I'm not shutting the water down for the whole school. Probably should have done this yesterday. Well, that's the idea. Oh, well, that's actually good. The difficulty in removing this is that I gotta be so careful as to how much pressure I put on this, because I can't grab this with a pair of pliers. I could end up damaging this, and then I'm cutting into the wall to try and deal with that, which is not good. got it. Get on. Yeah, getting you on is the difficult part. My fitting is right up against the black line, so I know I'm fully seated. So I will now go turn the water back on just to double check that we're watertight. We are dry. We are not dripping, not leaking. So I think at this stage, what I'm gonna do now, I don't want to repair that drywall patch yet because it got exposed to some water. I want to give it a chance to dry out fully. We'll just wait. I'll clean up my tools. This is Friday. It'll have the weekend to dry out. Monday I come back, do that repair, button that up, put it back on, everybody's happy, and we have a working bathroom again. Alright, I've got everything I need here to start making this little drywall patch. Let's just check this piece that I cut out from the other one to see do we actually fit. Yeah, that'll work well. I think the paint even matches. Sometimes you have to get a little creative with your backing. But nonetheless, backing is important. If it isn't there, you will never get a good patch. It'll always crack along the join lines. Even here, it's possible that it'll crack up here. Not that it matters, it's underneath the countertop. At the same time, it's a very weak patch if I don't put any backing in there at all, which is why I've got some in there. Okay, now to grab some tape and mud. Now whether you use mesh tape or paper tape for this, it doesn't really matter. I have this on hand, and I figure if nothing else, the fiberglass mesh will help perhaps add a little bit of strength that I might not otherwise get with the paper. What I also like about this is that if I was using paper, I'd have to pack these gaps with mud first and then put my paper down and do that. But I can't. Paper's nice when you can get a nice long pull on your knife and really pack it into the seam. You can't really do that here as easily. What I like about the mesh here in this application anyway is that I can also pack the mud in the gaps with the mesh tape in place. You'll notice that I've back cut the edges just to clean them up. That really helps and goes a long way towards having a smooth finish at the end of the day. So now I can go get some mud.
Seeing as it's a small repair, I just thought I'd get a small bucket of mud.
At this stage, I'm not even really thinking about the finished surface. I'm concentrating on packing mud down into the gaps. That's why I've got a small knife here as well. So that will do for now. Dirtiest paint job of all time. Alright, I've shut the hot water off again. I'm letting the pressure just kind of drain out of the system. And it's time to put my shutoff on my new supply line here. Well, I don't expect this to erupt too terribly when I cut the line. Got everything I need laid out. I've got my shutoff, I've got a crimp ring, and I have my crimp pliers as well. More water than I was hoping for. Well, maybe I could have used 2 towels. At least this time, the water stayed out of the wall. Well, that is our new shutoff. And I find in applications like this where I can't really put a clamp down, sandbags do a good job of just putting pressure on something so the glue can set up. And for my final act, to sort out this plumbing issue, since all the sink anchors basically blew out of here while I was putting it back together, I'm not gonna put those goofy little sink anchors back in place because they just don't hang on. You sneeze on them and they fall out. I'm going to use these, I guess they're a kitchen sink anchor, but if you look at them, they hook in much more effectively. They're a much better choice. So that is what I will be using. So I just make sure that the sink is centered in the hole, which I double check from the bottom to make sure I haven't got any big gaps anywhere. And then I can go about putting my anchors in. It's a pain securing sinks. But once you get it, you've got it. Well, 2 more to go, and then I'm done. And with this, I will say thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.